Hello, my friends. It is great to see you again. My name is Michael Williams, your smooth speech and presentation specialist. And we're continuing our series, The Power of Smooth Speech Self-Talk. The Power of Smooth Speech Self-Talk. So if you're just joining us in this video, I strongly encourage you to go back and watch the previous two videos, the introduction in step 1 and step 2, because today we're going to talk about step 3. Let me do a quick and brief review of the other two steps just so that you have some context, but do go back and watch the other video. So in the first video, we described what we mean by self-talk in general and smooth speech self-talk. We talked about the importance, the crucialness, right, of self-talk to your success in any area of life. You can apply this to any and every area of life, and especially to the area of smooth speech, your journey to smooth speech. We talked about the first step being aware of what? Aware that you are a thinker, that you're thinking. Right? Some people are not aware that they're thinking. Being aware that you're thinking. Being aware of the content of your thoughts, right? Being aware of the frequency of those thoughts. Being aware of the intensity, the emotional charge of those thoughts. In the second video, we talked about step 2, and step 2 has to do with learning to stop that particular train of thinking. So if you have trains of thinking that are taking you places that you don't want to go, that is, you are on a journey to smooth and clear and calm and confident speech. And if the train that you're on, that is your pattern of thinking, is taking you to stuttering and stammering and super fast speech and unclear speech, right, then that's a train you don't want to be on. If you're on a train that's causing you to anticipate all the time, to avoid situations, to not be the person that you already really are and that you can be, if you're in a train that's taking you that way, the train is causing you to think negatively, then you want to stop that train and get on a new train, get on a train that's taking you towards the kind of person that you're called to be, that you can be. And one of the reasons that you want to get on this new train is because I know that there are those of you out there who are being quiet when you really have something to say. You're sitting in meetings and you have brilliant ideas and you're not expressing those ideas. Or you're expressing them and they're just not coming out as intelligently as they could because you're having to avoid and change words. There are those of you out there who are avoiding networking situations. You're avoiding applying for positions. You are letting your speech determine and drive your career choices and your social choices. You are simply not doing what you're called to do, what you're really passionate about doing, because of your speech. And it all starts with your thinking, right? It all starts with your thinking. You're thinking moment by moment, moment to moment, right? That's how you change your ability to think the things that you want to think and to become the person that you want to become, right? Because what you think is going to determine your habits. So what I continuously and consistently think from moment to moment determines my habit patterns, my patterns of thinking, my habits of thinking. My habits of thinking determine my behaviors, and my behaviors then determine what? My character, who I am, and my character and my behaviors determine my entire destiny, right? It determines the career that I have, it determines my relationships, it determines how I'm able to serve other people, how I'm able to help other people, it determines how much income you earn, right? It determines how happy you are. All these things, you can trace them right back to your patterns of thinking, to what you're thinking moment to moment, okay? So that's why this is so imperative, why it's so crucial, why it's so important to be aware that we're thinking and what we're thinking, how often we think, and the intensity of our thoughts, and then to be able to stop those thoughts. And now in this session we're going to talk about how you can train your brain to get on a different train, right? How you can have your brain change trains, get on a different train of thinking. So let's talk about that. What are we talking about? What we mean is that we are going to substitute one pattern of thinking with another pattern of thinking. We're going to substitute one thought for another thought. So let's say you start anticipating, you find yourself anticipating that I'm going to get stuck, or I really don't want to do this because I know I'm going to get stuck. So what we must do is interrupt that pattern of thinking. Stop. Remember, you're on the train and you, right? You stop that train. You stop that train. Then you say, okay, instead, I want to get on this train that's going in that direction. So you stop that train, you get off, and you get on another train of thinking. So what are some other trains of thinking that you want to get on? Well, it depends on your destination, your journey, right? Where are you trying to go? If you're trying to get to smooth, clear, calm, and confident speech, then you're going to need to get on trains that are taking you in that direction. So what does that look like? What does smooth speech look like? What does clear speech look like? What does calm speech look like? What does confident speech, speaking with authority, what does that look like? In order to determine what it looks like, you're going to need to have some examples. Well, what does it look like when someone's speaking with authority, when they're speaking so calmly? So you get some examples and you study those examples, right? And you master those examples, and we call this modeling. And you can look up a guy named Albert Bandura, and he's the one that's kind of pioneered this, but it's been around forever, right? Because when people learned how to do things, like they learned how to hunt, or they learned how to speak, they learned it by patterning themselves, by modeling, by mimicking, imitating the people around them. So modeling's been around forever. It's nothing new. It's something that you've already done, and you still do it. Sometimes we do it sub or unconsciously, but we all model, and we have modeled, and modeling just works. It's often not easy as an adult, right? We might have to consciously do it, and sometimes it is easy. It depends on the person, but it's something that absolutely works. So, to determine this new train of thinking, what is it that I want to be thinking, you need to decide where you're going, what your goal is, how do I want to speak, and then you find a model that you can look at those characteristics and you can begin to mimic them. So what is it that we need to say to ourselves to help us to mimic our models, right? I'm just going to give you a couple examples, but for more examples, you're going to want to get into our private coaching, our ultimate smooth speech system, where I give you specific examples of things that you can say to yourself. So one thing you say is stop, right? You stop that train. And then the next thing that you might say, for example, is some people feel rushed. I'm just going to use this example. And this is just one of many examples. Sometimes people feel rushed. They feel like people are not going to wait for them if they relax and they slow down, or if they pause. So one thing that people can say to themselves, that you can say to yourself, is, wait a minute, I don't have to rush. I can take my time and say what I want to say. So you can think of that like an affirmation. Wait a minute, I don't have to rush. I can take my time. Even if it takes me a little longer, I can take my time and say what I want to say. So by doing that, you are taking back control over your speech. And so there's a principle of control that says when I feel like I'm in control of my life, then I feel better about myself. I feel more confident. And when I feel more confident, I'm actually able to speak better. Right? When people feel confident, they're often able to speak better. So, one of the things that you want to do is you want to take back control. And when you tell yourself, wait a minute, I don't have to rush, I can take my time and say what I want to say, when I want to say it. When you say that to yourself, you often feel more relaxed and you feel more confident. So that's just one thing that you can say to yourself. For example, if you feel rushed. There are many other things that you can say. For example, if you are anticipating, let's just say you have an interview that's coming up, or a presentation, and you're thinking about that presentation, you're anticipating. We go over this in our proactive presentation system. If you have something coming up, you're going to think about it. It's just a matter of how you think about it, right? Do you anticipate it negatively? Do you anticipate it with anxiousness? Or do you anticipate it with excitement and energy and enthusiasm? Let me say that again. If you have something coming up, you're probably going to think about it. You're going to anticipate it. The only question is how you anticipate it. Are you going to anticipate it with anxiousness, or are you going to anticipate it with energy, enthusiasm, and excitement? See, those are two different trains of thinking. So in our programs and in our coaching, we actually help put you on this other train so that you can anticipate things in a more constructive manner that takes you in the direction that you want to go and not in the direction that you don't want to go. This is all a systematic process. It's scientifically based, it's systematic, and it will get you there as long as you believe it, you trust the system, and you follow it. If you don't believe it and you're straddling the fence, you're going to be expending way too much energy trying to figure out, does this really work, or I'm not sure, or I tried this and it didn't work. You got to remember, you're literally growing your brain. It's going to take effort. There's going to be resistance. It's going to take time. Depending on where you're at in your speech, if your speech is severe, it's going to take you some more time and more effort. If your speech is not severe, it can still take you more time and more effort, just because you're making fundamental changes in the way that you think and in the way that you speak. That's like trying to change the way you walk. You first got to become aware of how you're walking, and you got to focus on something that's automatic, right? You're speaking, even though it may be disfluent, it's automatic. So you got to think about it. That takes time. You got to become aware. Then you got to think about, well, how do I want to speak? And then that takes time to learn that. Then you got to practice it in all different kinds of situations, and that takes time. So don't let anyone tell you that you can do this instantly, because very, very, very few people, very, 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 and I could keep going, are able to do it instantly. For most people, this takes time. But it's not even the matter of just being able to speak fluently. We're talking about, and I'm talking to you as people who want to exceed that. You want to become excellent speakers, amazing speakers, right? Incredible speakers. Those are the people this program is designed for. Those are the people that I like to work with, because you have a whole different level of motivation. You're serious and you want to go above and beyond. So we talked about a few steps, and then I'm going to tell you just some ways. I'm going to give you some suggestions as ways that you can lock those steps in and use them to help put you on the right train, take you in the direction that you want to go, so you can be the person that you know you're capable of being. So you don't have to avoid things, so you can get out there and you can be more social, you can speak up, you can speak out, you can just feel free and liberated to say what you want to say when you want to say it. So let's just look at those steps that you need to take again. The first step is to become aware. Become aware of what? We talked about at least 3 or 4 things. One is to become aware that you're a thinker, that you're thinking. It's very important, right? Okay, wow, I do think. I do have these thoughts, and I don't even sometimes know them. Second, to become aware of the content of your thinking. Yes, well, you know what? I'm thinking this. I'm feeling this, right? Okay, I have this sense of this. And then third, we talked about frequency. Ooh, okay, I've been thinking that quite a bit today or this week. And then the intensity. Ooh, whenever I think about that, sometimes people think about previous situations that they had, right? And they beat themselves up. Oh, wow, man, you know, I couldn't even order food. I couldn't even say my name. Why is that? Now, okay, I'm taking this program. I'm taking Michael Williams' program, and I'm still having a hard time. Well, it's a process. It's a process. I'm still having a hard time, and then you start getting frustrated, and you start letting up off the accelerator of progress, right? And so then that just starts to pull you back and pull you down. So you got to be aware of the intensity of your thoughts, right? Awareness, first step. Second step is to interrupt the pattern, to stop the pattern, your pattern of thinking. There's also interrupting your pattern of speech. Sometimes people are pushing out words and they're just doing things, and we have to stop that. You can stop it with your will, right? With your thoughts. We're not talking about that today, but that's one of the things we do in this process, in our programs. You stop doing the things that you were doing. That's simply strengthening that neural network that says, okay, yeah, we're supposed to push out words. Nope, interrupt that pattern. So we're talking today about interrupting your pattern of thinking, right? So you say, stop, stop, stop. That's not helpful. This is not helpful. Stop. This is not helpful. And remember, this is very important. Are you listening? Say yes if you're listening. Okay. You probably, almost 100%, will have to repeat this stop. It's not helpful. Stop. It's not helpful. Over and over and over and over again. Even in the moment, in a 5-minute period of time, if you find that you're constantly thinking about something and it's really starting to pour, you must stop. This is not helpful. Stop. It's not helpful. And then in the next step, we said, here's what you can do. Stop is not helpful. Okay, let me think about this. Stop. This is not helpful. Let me think about this. So in the third step, we talked about substituting or getting your brain on a different train. Substituting that pattern of thinking or getting your brain on a different train that's taking you where it wants to go. And we just used one example because there are so many. One example that you can use is to say, you know what? I can relax. I can take my time. I don't have to rush. I don't have to rush. I don't have to rush. I can relax and I can take my time and say what I want to say when I'm ready to say it, right? That gives you control back. And when you have control, it's something called locus of control. When you have control, you feel more powerful. You feel more confident. When you feel more confident, you at least are giving yourself the chance to speak more smoothly. Just because we feel confident doesn't mean we always speak smoothly, but for sure when we speak smoothly, the chances are we're probably feeling more confident. I've had people tell me, wow, I felt really confident, I spoke smoothly. Or I didn't feel real confident and I didn't speak smoothly, right? So there's not always a one-to-one direct correlation, but there is certainly a very, 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 very strong relationship between confidence and smooth speech, and especially over time. The more confident you feel, especially if you're developing your speaking skills, right, through a systematic process, the more confident you feel and the more you work on developing your speech, the smoother you're going to speak, period. Okay? Especially over time. Because if you feel more confident, you're going to put yourself out there more. You're going to want to practice more. You're going to want to talk to people, even though you might get stuck. You're going to feel confident. You're going to get out there and you're going to practice more. And the more you practice, the better you're going to get. So how can you lock these steps in and make it permanent so you can start speaking smoothly for the long term? Well, I want to recommend to you that you take a look at our private coaching, our one-on-one coaching, or our Ultimate Smooth Speech System, which is a small group coaching, which is super effective because you get to actually do the things that you've probably been avoiding. Speak with people, speak in front of people. And we'll be there to give you evaluation and feedback. We give the individuals evaluation and feedback. And as the group gets larger, we'll probably add some additional time. So still, you can still learn from watching others, right? And from listening to the feedback. It's usually always the same. But you can listen to it. So our group is incredibly, incredibly helpful. There's an energy that's present in the group that's not present in the one-on-one coaching because there's more people there, right? And you're getting to hear and feed off of what other people are saying. But one-on-one coaching is important because sometimes people need that one-on-one attention. They need it. The group is not going to be the right place for them right now, but it may be later. And so some people, they just want the one-on-one attention. So if you're a professional and you either have an urgent, important, and or ongoing need to present yourself, when I say present yourself, I mean you need to express your ideas and thoughts, which is any time you speak, even if it's one-on-one, you're presenting yourself, if it's in an interview, you're presenting yourself. So if you have an urgent, like, boom, something I need to do now, and it's important, right, it's my job, and it's ongoing, I got to do this every day or every week, then you're going to want to get in touch with me. If you have been struggling with your speech and you've tried stuff on your own, you've been watching videos or even you've been taking courses and you've seen some progress but not as much as you'd like, it's probably because of consistency or lack of consistency and feedback. You're going to want to look at the one-on-one coaching or Ultimate Smooth Speech System, right? If you're tired of that, you're ready to take your speech to the next level, take your life to the next level, and you're professional and you're serious, and you know that you're going to have to invest some time and money, right? Time and money, then you're going to want to get in touch with me. This coaching, this program is not cheap. So if you know that, I'm not working and I can't afford this, then you don't want to book a session We have a self-study that you can look at. We have things like that. But if you're serious and you have the funds to invest back in yourself, and often people will see a return on their investment, like financially. They'll get better jobs immediately, or they'll get a promotion, or they'll go into a different career because now they can speak well. You get an actual financial return. Some people don't really care about that. They just want to feel good about themselves and feel free to say what they want to say. So you get that kind of an investment. The prices for our programs are right on the website. Both for coaching now, too. If you visited our coaching a month ago, you might not have seen the prices. The prices are there. And we've even done some comparison. And we, for what we offer, are nowhere near as expensive as we could and probably should be. We've tried to keep it affordable for people around the world. We have people from literally all over the world. New Zealand, Australia, Sweden. We have professionals in all areas, professional sports players. We have doctors. There's a reason why doctors and other professionals choose us. Lots of doctors choose us because of our scientifically based system. If doctors trust us, then why shouldn't you? Okay? That's all I'm going to say about this. I just want to invite you to get in touch with me if you've been struggling. Time's going to pass anyway. So it's just a matter of how long you're going to wait, right? How long you're going to struggle. We've got plenty of videos up here showing people who've made dramatic improvements in their speech, and they're still working. This isn't magic. You got to work hard, but it works. It just works. So if you want something that works, and 90 days is not a long time, right? You want something to get in there and you can see major transformations in 90 days. 90 days is not the end of it, but you'll see dramatic changes. Your life will be very different inside of 90 days. If you want something that works and that works quickly, 90 days is fast if you think about it. It's not as fast as 3 days or 12 days, but often those kind of programs don't last. If you work with someone for 90 days, you're right in that window where you've created a pattern that you can then go on and continue to develop that will last you for the rest of your life. Okay? So we have a comparison. You can look at the prices and you can decide that, you know what, time's going to pass anyway. Where was I 90 days ago? How was my speech 90 days ago? And if I continue doing what I'm doing now, how's my speech going to be 90 days from now? But if I do something different, how will my speech be 90 days from now? So I'm challenging you to do something different, okay? Do something different so that in 90 days or less you can look and say, wow, look at my speech now. Look at how I feel now. Again, thank you so much. My name is Michael Williams, your smooth speech and presentation specialist, and I look forward to working with you soon.